You are welcome once again to another interesting session of lecture on GST111 Communication in English, Study Sections 2, which is titled Listening Skill. My name is Philip Daniel Mole. By way of introduction, listening is an important skill that is needed by every student from primary, secondary, and tertiary levels, and even outside study situations. That means you must listen to oral lectures delivered by various lecturers and other people both in your field and outside your field. In this age of advancement, lecture can be put on cassette, on compact discs, or they can even be read to you by your friend or colleagues. At every level, what you are being trained for is the ability to listen attentively, follow a lecture that is delivered orally, and respond to the suggested activities after the lecture. That is why listening ability is a very significant skill that you need and that you must develop in order to succeed in your studies at the tertiary level and in life generally. That is why you will need a tape recorder, a tape cassette, an exercise book, a dictionary, a pen or pencil to enhance your listening skill. By the end of this session, under the learning outcomes of this study, you should be able to explain what study skill is, list the necessary listening skills needed in this unit, identify factors that hamper your listening skills, discuss ways by which you can improve your listening skill. Now, the concept of listening. Listening is a psychological cognitive exercise which involves speakers setting and shared knowledge in a communication process of encoding and decoding messages. It is a collaborative process in which the extent to which A listens and comprehends what B says depends on A's capacity to link what B says and what B means. Listening is an important day-to-day activity. If you cannot listen, you are looked upon as a fool and unintelligent. The same thing goes for a person who is unable to comprehend what a speaker is saying. It is useless to listen and not comprehend. Therefore, there is need for you not to only listen but also to comprehend what you listen or hear. Types of listening skill. All human beings listen for one thing or the other. There are basically three ways by which we can listen. They are listening to lectures, listening to take notes, and listening for important ideas. Now we shall take them one after the other. Listening to lectures. Lecturing is a prevalent teaching technique adopted in tertiary institutions globally. This teaching approach means that a body of information is condensed and presented in such a manner that it is easily understood and readily recalled. This means that on your part lays the burden to listen attentively so as to hear and understand the details of each lecture. For an effective listening to lectures, you must develop some silent skills. Some of them are ability to listen and comprehend in both academic and non-academic contexts, ability to work out the intention of the speaker, ability to think, analyze, and critically evaluate what you have heard, high adaptive tendency irrespective of speech styles and rate of speed of a speaker from a different linguistic background, ability to write down what you have heard just as you do in note taking during lectures, a very functional sense of hearing, full concentration, effective thinking in line with the speaker. All these are very, very important if you must get something out of what you listened. Listening to take notes. In the course of listening to a lecture, it is very likely that you want to take notes. The same techniques for note taking apply here. However, you will need to also listen attentively with keen and rapt attention. Take note of specific information rather than irrelevant details. Be conscious of signals that give clue to vital information. Identify and jot down the kind of information you require. Identify specific information when they are released by the speaker. Maintain speed, accuracy, and clarity in writing as you listen. Do not allow the note-taking to rob you of listening to current information given by the speaker. Listening for important ideas. In every communication situation, there are main ideas or central messages which the speaker focuses attention on. It is therefore your duty as a listener to differentiate these main ideas from the less important ones. In a classroom context, you should learn to focus on the important ideas being raised by the teacher so that you do not jot down unimportant ones. Listening for important ideas requires the following. Identify the topic of the lesson. In it is the important idea of the lecture. You should focus your mind on to understand what is being said for learning to take place. The listener must be conscious to identify the basic issues being raised by the lecturer. Repetition of certain words and expressions point to the central ideas of the lecture. Identify the direction in which the discussion are headed. While in discussing listening skills, we need to know that there are factors hampering active listening process, and they are identified in the following factors below. 1. Lack of concentration. When a lecture is going on or a speech and you are not paying concentration, it is practically impossible for you to get the main gist of the topic. Distraction and disturbance. Earlier on, we had said that distraction is anything that takes one's attention from what he is doing. For you as a student, whatever is taking your attention from your lecture is a distraction to you, and therefore you need to avoid it. Interferences or another thought into the main thought. Faulty speech habits of the speaker. Unfamiliar sentence patterns used by the speaker. Difficult vocabulary items in the lecture. Some lecturers sometimes they are very difficult. In order to impress you, they will want to use very big, high sounding words that will cause you not to even understand. That could also affect or hamper active listening process. Listeners' interest, fatigue, motivation. So when you are tired, it will affect your listening ability. So if you are able to control these factors for better for your progress in listening. So you should try to widen your knowledge of language in order to minimize your listening defects. How to increase your listening capacity. To increase your listening capacity, you are advised to adhere to the following factors. Listen attentively to what the speaker or lecturer is saying. Follow the speaker as he is speaking. Have a wide range of vocabulary items, enough to understand what is being said. Recognize common speech patterns that a speaker can use, such as introduction. This is a brief statement about what the speaker is going to say. 2. The body of the speech, which is often divided into main points and supporting details. And then the conclusion. This summarizes the speech and establishes the speaker's stand. Recognize the various speech signals which point to the main point. Easy. For example, firstly, secondly, thirdly, etc. Or show the shift of emphasis in speech patterns. For example, we are now going to talk about the Nigerian National Assembly. Be interested in what the speaker is saying and be involved in note-taking activities. That is putting down the major points which are used in the speech. In conclusion, you have learned that listening is an essential skill that is needed by every student at all levels of education, whether it is in the primary school, at the secondary school level, or university level. You need to develop a very good listening skill if you must succeed. Listening is an act of hearing things using your ear to gauge what someone is saying and allowing such information to be related to the stored information in your mind. We have different ways by which we listen. That is, listening for lecture, listening to take note, and listening for main ideas. There are many factors that can hamper your active listening ability. You can increase your listening capacity by building your vocabulary and so on and so forth. Thank you for good listening. Bye.